Have you ever felt that sinking feeling in your chest when trust has been shattered in your marriage? Could be to issues like adultery or pornography. Could be other things too. It's a gut-wrenching experience. It can feel like your world's falling apart and you don't know what to do. Hi, I'm John Golda, and I'm with Solid Rock Marriage Restoration. Today we're diving deep into a topic that's incredibly crucial for many couples: restoring intimacy after broken trust. Sometimes mistakes in a marriage relationship can really damage the relationship in a very deep way. They can result in a loss of intimacy. They can threaten to derail or destroy the marriage completely if it's not dealt with properly. It's crucial not to accept the loss of intimacy as hopeless, as a final state for your marriage. That leads only to more brokenness. Instead, you want your marriage to thrive. You want to look at it in terms of how to find your way back to that intimacy. You have to envision that you can. You have to believe you can, and you have to seek how to rebuild that intimacy and trust, even if it feels impossible when you get started. This is something that really is just breaking up marriages, and it makes it it's so hard for people. But keep in mind, God makes things new. God makes things new. And so He restores fully. So marriages can be better than ever before. You're not the first one to be down this road. Many have been down this road. Many have come back stronger than when they started. You don't have to just accept the vision of being patched up, repaired, or living with something where you can never fully trust your spouse again. Those are not the only options. There's much more than that. Intimacy can be rebuilt. And I guess as we talk about rebuilding intimacy, I think it's good to share, what are some thoughts around what intimacy really is? How do you describe it? So I think intimacy can, a lot of times people think of it as sexual intimacy, and that's not all of it. That's just part of it. Intimacy is like fully knowing your spouse's likes, dislikes, their weaknesses and their strengths. It's fully knowing them and acting intentionally towards them with that knowledge. And it's also a big part of intimacy is being known by them and having a trust that you won't be hurt, but that you're safe with them. So when trust is broken, there's some obvious impacts. These are simple to get your mind around, including there may not be any more physical sex. There may be sleeping in separate rooms. Sometimes there's even more separateness, living in different homes or apartments. The grieving spouse who needs the healing, they need room for grieving process to take place. You can't rush it. You can't just tell them to get over it or forgive. Why won't they forgive me immediately? It takes more than that. They're going to need to see change in the one who hurt them. They're going to need to see demonstrated change. They're going to have to be able to trust that change is real and that it's going to last. There's a couple of steps that I think are important to highlight, and I think they can help with rebuilding broken trust. So if you've been in this situation, number one, no secrets. You need full transparency. You can't be keeping secrets from one another. That's just going to always leave. Anything that you're keeping secret that your spouse finds out later is going to be, they're going to be looking at that and saying, oh no, I still can't trust them. They're still holding things back. They said they were honest with me. You really need to have full transparency and full honesty. And part of that means that the spouse who's been hurt, you need to be able to handle that. You need to be able to accept and hear as they're sharing, and not just shrink or get destroyed because they're sharing things that are hard to hear. If you want full transparency, you have to receive it effectively. Another one I think is so important is boundaries. You need to set and agree on boundaries for what's going to keep your relationship healthy. Restoring broken trust, a lot of times this will look like the spouse who feels like they were betrayed is laying out some boundaries for the spouse who has betrayed them and failed them. And this might be things like, for a while, no kissing, no touching. It could be, I need you to check in when you're out. It could be, I want you to put something like covenant eyes on your computer. It could be, you shouldn't be having a close relationship with someone of the opposite sex. And you shouldn't be, so if you're a husband who's been unfaithful, you're trying to rebuild trust, maybe you need to stop having, going out to lunch with female friends from work or friends that you've known, unless you're bringing your wife with you. Just to make sure there's that full trust, there's those boundaries that can make your spouse feel safe. I think empathy, really experiencing and demonstrating and repeating back to your spouse empathy for feeling the other person's pain, not your own pain, but verbalizing that back to them. I think that can then lead into, heartfelt apologies, really not just saying the words, but experiencing the sorrow, feeling it, acknowledging what your hurt has done, why it was wrong, and apologizing and committing not to do it again in a very genuine way. It's important to be genuine, not just rush it and checky box. Forgiveness is a big deal, and sometimes forgiveness is not going to be one step. Sometimes, as more information is disclosed over time, there may be needing to forgive all over again. And so if you don't disclose everything at once and more information comes out later, even if you haven't had a new violation or a new breaking of trust, that new information can feel like additional broken trust to your spouse. And so you really, there may be multiple times that have to be forgiven, but part of forgiving for the one who's been betrayed is having to release the behavior of their spouse to God, not being in control of it, not saying it was right, but releasing the resentment, releasing the anger, releasing that hurt. And I think another one, we talked about transparency. This is kind of related, but rigorous honesty. Just not just one time being truthful and bearing everything that you did wrong, but continuing to be very honest in terms of what you're struggling with, what you're experiencing. If you were struggling with adultery or porn, you need to be able to share those feelings and vulnerabilities that you're experiencing as you continue forward in the healing process, even as you're trying to deal with them. And then you just can continue to acknowledge that, that's not the person you are anymore. And then ultimately, you will get back to, in a healthy marriage, a return to sexual relationship between husband and wife. You can't rush it. You can't hurry it. You don't want to have coercion or guilt to get there. You want to make sure you're really rebuilding the emotional intimacy first, and physical sex will be a reflection of rebuilding that emotional intimacy. Remember, I can't emphasize this enough, don't rush the process. Don't quit just because you experience this type of breakdown in your marriage. Trust God, draw near to Him, and seek to heal and restore intimacy. And here's the thing, if you're struggling, you don't have to do this on your own. Your marriage is worth the time and effort. Time is precious. Help is available. Reach out to someone. Don't let time slip away. Don't let your marriage slip away. So if you're looking for help to restore your marriage, to rebuild trust and intimacy, if you're ready to learn more about how we at Solid Rock Marriage Restoration are helping to heal and restore marriages, to restore broken trust, you can check out our website, www.solidrockmarriagerestoration.com. It's really the beginning of a journey for your marriage to rebuild trust and experience a thriving and intimate and strong marriage again. Don't hesitate. Take the first step today. It's easy to check out a website. You can check out testimonials. You can learn more about how our program works, how we partner with folks like you. We work with individuals or we work with couples. So I really hope that this message has blessed you and helped you today. May the grace of God be with you, and have a wonderful day.